Hey girls, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Rachel Sherrill and I am a dating and relationship coach, and I help women communicate with men in a way that draws them in to you rather than repels them away from you. So before we jump into today's topic, if you want more tips on how to position yourself and how to speak to men in the dating realm, go ahead and click the subscribe button for more videos and tips on these topics. So let's talk about today's topic. Today I want to talk about love languages. Specifically, I want to talk about how one particular love language tends to be the main love language that pushes men away. Okay? So that love language is words of affirmation. So if you are somebody whose primary love language is words of affirmation, meaning you are somebody who feels most loved when somebody is praising you, essentially, singing your praises, letting you know how amazing you are, and how beautiful you are, and they just kind of dote on you with their words. If that is you, and just for context, there is a book by Gary Chapman and it is called The 5 Love Languages. And all the love languages, the other ones are quality time. So it's quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, and acts of service. So a lot of women tend to feel most loved when they are hearing these words rather than all the others. So if that is you, I want you to come into awareness of how this could be a major stumbling block in your process of drawing men in versus pushing them away. So here's the reason why, if your primary love language is words of affirmation, why it may be pushing your man away. Well, for one thing, when you are a person who feels most loved from words of affirmation, you are constantly going to, you will tend to overfunction in your relationship, okay? Meaning a words of affirmation person is always going to look for how they can get their hit of love, right? And by the way, this can fall and this can dump into all aspects of our lives, and there's many ways in which lots of women with other love languages are overfunctioning as well. So don't get, caught up on, that's not just me. Sometimes we're like, that's everybody else, and we want to point our finger. So stay with me just within this context, okay? If you are somebody who is prone to feeling most love from words of affirmation, you are going to be looking for ways to do something in order to get love in return, in order to get the words of affirmation. The chances are that your whole life you were seeking validation through words, and the way that we as humans tend to get words of affirmation is if we perform well, right? If we show up and we do something phenomenal, right? Or we do something perfect. Let's use an example, like I go and paint the room. I reorganize and clean somebody's house, and I clean the room, and I decide I want to paint it a new color to make it beautiful. So I go out above and beyond to make this project excellent, in hopes that somebody comes in and says, wow, you did amazing. Look at this. It's incredible. And then you're getting your tank filled, your little cup filled inside of you. So the same thing goes with your relationships. You will begin to overfunction. You will begin to overgive to your man in hopes that your man says something or says how great you are. You will go out of your way to make yourself look beautiful, to perform well, to do anything. You will start cooking your man meals because you want him to be like, wow, you're so amazing. So what ends up happening is that, you guys know I talk a lot about masculine and feminine energy and how those dynamics affect our ability to draw a man in. Well, For those of you who may not know what the masculine versus feminine is, I'm going to give you a brief overview right now. But the masculine energy is the giving. It's the giving energy. It is the giver. So somebody who is in their most masculine state is going to be giving. And giving is masculine because giving requires action. It is an action-taking point, okay? The feminine is the receiver. The feminine receives. So she has this way of flowing. She allows, she trusts, she receives, she's vulnerable, she's soft. And the masculine is hard charging, trying to make something happen, solve problems, fix things, analytical, thinking in their head space. The feminine is in their heart space, okay? That's just a brief overview. But I say this to say that when you, as a person who desires words of affirmation, you will step into that masculine zone and begin to overfunction in your relationship. You will begin to overgive, overcompensate, do all of these things for your man. And without realizing it, this will begin to push your man away. Why? Because you begin to steal purpose from your man. You begin to, begins to be no space for your man to give to you. And you will tend to do this, and it will turn manipulative. So it can subtly turn manipulative, and you will all of a sudden become controlling as well. So these are things you have to be very careful of. So here's what I want you to do as a result of kind of correcting or coming into awareness of not over-functioning in your relationship. Number one, I want you to become your own best cheerleader, okay? When we can learn to fill our own cups up, we will be less prone to try to get that need met from somebody else. And promise, the less needy that you can be with your man, the more your man will be drawn to you. Now, hear me out. This does not mean that you're a doormat and you never get your needs met, because there are times where you must communicate what it is that you desire and what it is that you are needing in your relationship. So this isn't about never expressing your need, but this is about not being passive in trying to get a need met. So there's one thing where you can say, hey, you know what? It feels really good to me when, I hear you compliment me in different ways. That really makes me feel good. So I notice that sometimes I try to do things to get that. So I want to just live authentically, and I want to give or do things for the very sake that I just want to do it, not in subtle ways to try to get something from you. So I just want to be real and transparent and honest with you and let you know that, it does feel really good to me to hear you say good things. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts about that? Ask your man. Be that honest. Be that transparent, right? And then you become this magnetic, beautiful woman who is sure of herself and knows who she is, how she operates, and you are able to express your need, and your man will want to meet that need. But if he feels any sort of manipulation or control, which, by the way, men are sensitive and they feel when there's some sort of manipulation, they feel when you are giving to get something, and they will almost always feel pressure from that, and it will push them farther away than drawing them in. But when you begin to create space here, which is, I'm not trying to get you to do anything, that's the sweet spot, okay? So what I want you to become better at filling your own cup, and maybe even seeking words of validation from those around you, and catch yourself and ask yourself, when you go to do something for your man, I want you to ask yourself this: am I about to cook him dinner or do this thing for him because I want him to love me more or say something nice to me? What am I hoping will happen as a result of me doing this? Is there a reason I'm doing this? Am I trying to get something from this? So really stop yourself, have an inner dialogue, check in, and then find out within yourself, why am I doing this? And if you can honestly answer and say, I would love for him to say that you're amazing and this was amazing. Okay, then maybe you should challenge yourself and not do that thing if that's actually what you're hoping will happen. So I want you to learn how to give just for the sake of giving, because it makes you feel good, not because you are trying to get something out of it or from it. That's really the key check-in that you need to do. And when you can finally, one, be your own your best cheerleader. So compliment yourself, right? Oh my gosh, that was really good. And I don't actually need anybody else to compliment me. And I'm just going to simply show up and, just be in my man's presence, because I know that just my presence alone is enough. My presence alone is the gift. And I don't actually have to overfunction. I don't have to do anything to get my man to love me. And I don't need him to praise me or give me words of affirmation for me to feel loved. And then lastly, just recognize that everybody's love languages are different. How they express love, how they receive love is very different. And so you want to see, rather than getting upset on the fact that he is not singing your praises or giving you words of affirmation, I want you to stop yourself and look for all the ways that he is showing up for you, all the ways that he is actually giving to you. Maybe he's doing something for you. Maybe he wants to hug you. Maybe he wants to just spend time with you. And I want you to begin to see how he is expressing his love in different ways, and become curious about that, and begin to see how that could also be forms of loving you and ways that he is loving you. And when you can do that, you stop obsessing over him, not what he's not doing, and you will let go of the need to want to control or dictate the outcomes in your situation. So be careful. All that to say, I'm going to close with this. Be careful of the subtle ways that you may be trying to control or manipulate or overfunction or making something happen in your relationship. When you do that, you step into the masculine, and you're no longer in this relaxed, leaning back, feminine state of being, which is what causes a man to want to be draw towards you. Now, I'm going to close with that. If you want more videos on understanding masculine and feminine, you can check me out on Instagram, my podcast. I really elaborate on that there. And I have other videos here on YouTube as well. But just relax and catch yourself and ask yourself, what am I hoping will happen here? Love you guys.